Okay, first, thank you to Hank and Mark for prepping for those and testing the audience. So Mark gave a little preview as to which of the speakers had a gap somewhere. So does anybody want to start with sort of thoughts, comments about the two pitches? You needn't be afraid. Did both of the pitches talk about, remember this is about the fundamentals that really Brett went through. So did they both talk about their teams? Yeah, both seem to mention their own capabilities as well as the teams that they put together. What other things that Brett and Chris talked about that were included or were missing?
I actually just have a question. Would you ever bring a prototype to a pitch so that people can visualize it?
Always.
Always.
First time I haven't had it in my pocket.
The answer was yes. Did they describe the business concept?
My thought was, I'm a visual person. I get information better visually, and numbers better visually too. So I was surprised that there weren't more slides or 10 slides for presentation. But maybe there's a good reason for that.
There was a good reason for that. Yeah. So they were instructed to not use slides. What I worried about is that you would be looking at your notes and comparing the slides and making checks, minuses, so forth. And it was a stretch to make you listen to the fundamentals that we had described previously. So that was done on purpose.
That's a really good point. You need both verbal and visual. That is an excellent point. You need both graphics and visual entertainment and information flow as well as verbal.
Right, so it is a bit artificial tonight. We're kind of in a laboratory setting, right? But you're right, it is a combination of the individual delivering as well as what they're showing. And the last thing you want to happen is being simply paying attention to what's on the slide, but not making the connection with the speaker themselves. That those dynamics are always at play. Any other thoughts?
So, Mr. McWilliams, you told us you needed another round of funding to go the distance to commercialize, but you didn't really say anything about what you still have to do for that. I didn't, maybe I missed it, but I didn't hear anything about what you need this round of funding for specifically. I mean, you've raised that $5 million to de-risk technology and do the rest of the stuff that went through that, but what is the additional funding going to actually do?
Well, is that the gap?
Did they find the gap, Mark? No. Let me let him comment.
I did mention it, and that's a good question because I had a list of items for the use of funds. But this is part of the problem of presenting and getting clear information flow. Classic kind of problem. And if you saw it on the slide, you may not have missed it. Good question.
Okay, so clearly I missed it.
I don't know, did anybody else get it? Exactly, and that's part of the challenge. Verbal and visual go together.
Well, I just have a comment, Mark. As you were describing what you wanted the funding for, I got a clear visual picture of what you wanted the funding for. Even though the slides weren't on the screen, you did very vividly describe the uses for the product, what you wanted the product to do, and the convenience of it. I thought you talked about the business model, and I know what you want the money for. I felt very comfortable. I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so I'm gonna let's try to get all the comments here.
One thing I didn't get was how much the A-series funding was. And I didn't get the profit that was expected, but that didn't worry me too much since it was a platform that could be used so widely.
The one thing that I didn't hear clearly was the ROI for the customers. And the door prize is? Sure, the return on investment. Why is it that a customer would actually buy the product? I think you actually did cover very quickly why the investor would want to give you money because there's lots of exits and so forth. It was quick, but it was there. And I think there were cost saving. It wasn't there cost savings. I think it cost $1. I have no idea how much an infusion pump costs for. I try to stay away from them. You covered it got paid under a DRG payment, which I looked up quickly. I know ambulatory reimbursement just fine, but not inpatient. But I never really heard why would a customer want to use your product instead of one of the other millions of products that are out there with lots of the competition that you pointed out.
Clearly, that was point one.
Yeah,
How the customer is going to make money using my product.
everybody hear that? How's the customer going to make money using Mark's product?
I wish you could have told us if you had other drug companies on board with you who would have wanted to partner with you. That would have inspired more confidence.
Great comment. I'm working.
Any comments around, Hank did such a great, thorough job. Any comments around Hank's presentation? I mean, I was struck with, he went in a really nice, orderly fashion, and I think he did a great job of laying it out for you. As I was listening to him, what I'm going through is the slides that Brett was showing, and he hit every single one of them. Okay. Workout tonight.
I'm really not much of a business person, but the thing with Hank's presentation was that I wasn't interested in it. You know, so what if a whole bunch of rich people in the South want to be able to fly wherever they want to go? That just didn't interest me. I think it's a real niche group, which I think you addressed, but it just didn't interest me as a nurse as much as the other one did.
Yeah, that's a reality often because those of us that have made pitches will have those people in the audience that aren't interested. And then what do? You got to hang in there.
To kind of bounce off that, something that would have been great from either one is to talk about not just the dollars, what does the customer make in profits based on your contribution, but what is their want? Their want doesn't need to be rational or money-based. It can just be that they hate airport security. And they'll pay almost any amount of money to not have to do that. Or, you know, they just hate fumbling around with those silly pumps. And they're always going off. And the patients wake up and they're so annoyed. They just didn't have those beeping pumps, you know, literally beeping to beep. So something like that would have made it really visceral and maybe have helped me relate to rich people who want to fly around Florida.
Knew there'd be a pat down comment eventually.
Earlier we heard about the SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So both the models did cover details about what were the opportunities and what were the strengths. It would be also nice if we got a detail of what were the exact threats or what were also the weaknesses in the models, so that the investors may also.
Okay, we're going to do two more questions in this format, and I'm going to bring the panelists.
When you're making a pitch, what are you doing?
Selling.
You're selling. Who are you selling to? That's your clue.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on Hans' presentation also.
if you want to invest in a company, you always want to look at the past experience and current market conditions. And he did mention that because of the current climate, the products are not selling. He came out rightly and said that. So why would I want to invest $10 million in this company when he's told me that because of the current situation, he's not making money? So if that's not, he didn't convince me enough to be able to invest in that company.